been to a meetup before? Or?
No, first time.
First time? Okay, cool, welcome.
Are you one of the organizers?
Not an organizer, just a friend, so I'm helping out taking pictures,
Taking pictures.
volunteering.
We've met like 10 years ago in other circumstances. We were both different things. You were not a real estate lawyer, and I was not a fake lawyer at the time.
If everyone could just please find your seats.
Hello everybody, my name is Mike, as introduced by Jacob. Actually, Jacob and Victoria are some of the first people to put property on our platform via blockchain technology. So they're pioneers and really awesome. So I'm Mike Shazer. I am a dad of two here in Korea, and I just had my second son 3 days ago on my birthday. So that was really awesome. Oh, hey, TH. TH is our banker back there. And also, I'm a husband, and my wife is Korean, and I'm a coder. I've been coding for about 12, 13 years, since I was, well, I'm not going to give away my age. And biz dev, wow, I'm that old now, huh? I'm also a business development. I work in business development for our company, as well as I am a serial entrepreneur, and here are a few of the companies that I founded. At 140 Ventures, we built about 40 different mobile applications, and Code Cloud, we taught programming, and most recently we did Core Estate here in Korea, where we still help people find properties, so you can search, for English speakers can find property in Korea. All right, so let's get started. So today I'm going to talk about proof, and you kind of heard a little bit from Jacob about fractionalized property ownership and how you can own small chunks of property. But what we're going to talk about today is how that's actually feasible and where the technology is coming. So I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to start with our vision of the future, how we see the world in the future. Then we're going to cut into exactly what is blockchain and how does blockchain work. From there, we're going to actually, Ty's going to come up, and he's our CTO. He's going to talk a lot about our platform, how it works today, and how you can use it. And then he's going to go into exactly, from there, we're going to talk about the roadmap that we have for moving forward, and share that with you guys. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. So hopefully this doesn't get too boring. A lot of the things I'm going to talk about are new concepts for a lot of people. How many people in here are familiar with blockchain? Great. I'm going to give out prizes like Jacob did. We brought down here some Bitcoin stocks. I got two blockchainers I saw here, so I'm going to share these stocks with you guys. These actually come courtesy of our VP of Consumer Acquisitions. That's this big black gentleman over here. That's Jason Holmes. He runs Kimchi Socks. Awesome company. I buy my dad gifts every Father's Day from Kimchi Socks, and the Bitcoin stocks are my favorite. I was going to wear them today, but I wore them throughout the rest of all of last week. So. All right, so let's get started. So, everyone take a look at this scene, and I'm going to ask a question. What do you see? When I and most of our team look at this, what we see are capital markets at play. We see the buy side, brokers, the sell side. We see liquidity creators or institutional banks. We see settlement. That's lien registration. That's deeds. That's titles. That's insurance. That's a lot of stuff which we're going to go over a little bit. Hope I don't put anyone to sleep on that. And we see appraisers, people who actually validate or kind of validate what a property is worth. All right. So, our vision of the future. We envision a world where you're walking down the street and you spot a property. You say, maybe this one. And have you ever been kind of out on the street like that and you've seen something, you've been like, hey, I feel like this is an up-and-coming neighborhood, maybe it's either getting gentrified, or maybe it's just being developed, or maybe you see a development or a coffee shop about to open up or something like that, and you're like, man, if I could just get in on this. I know I have, like, just kind of been like, you can see it, you're like, oh man. So let's talk about your options here. If you're just, just a regular Joe walking down the street. Now, the first option you have is just kind of walk up to the door, knock on it, hope the owner's there, I guess, right? Or just look like a schmuck and be like, hey, looking for the owner. And they're like, what do you want? And you're like, well, I want to buy a piece of this. And they're like, get out of here. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Like, unless you're like the best sales guy in the world, right? Like, that's probably practical. What most of us who actually have the initiative actually are crazy enough to try to negotiate or do something like that is we'll hop on the computer. We'll start looking up that property or properties nearby, and we'll start doing research, and then everyone's favorite thing, because real estate today, especially unsolicited purchases of a venue, require you to what? Hop on the phone. Get on the phone and die. Anyone get that reference? It's a little Wall Street reference. So most people here, like, who loves cold calling? Anyone here love to cold call people, just like out of the blue? Say hello. Jocko, you get a prize. Yeah. Yes. Bitcoin stocks for loving to cold call.
I totally did that for the songs, by the way.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we're all about hacking the system, so I salute. So yeah, no one really, other than Jocko to get prizes, wants to actually pick up the phone and dial and cold call people for stuff. And so even if you get past and actually somehow get to the owner and you convince them to actually let you buy a piece of the property or whatever, then the next piece, which is you got to go through the appraisal process, right? How do you know what you're paying is a good price? Even if it's the initial price that you select, maybe you call them up and said, I want to buy this property at a $500,000 valuation, and I'm going to put in 10% of this property. How do you know that that's a fair price? Especially if they're like, yeah, sure, right? You're probably like, oh, maybe that's not a good deal after all. And then let's say after you go through that whole negotiation process, which is long, tedious, and like your whole buzz from kind of just looking at an opportunity kind of fades. Then is the best part that kind of was where most deals fall apart. Anyways, is the next step, which is all the paperwork. Deeds, liens, insurance, fire safety, everything else under the sun. If you're in a foreign country, I mean, talk about all the different visas that you might need or might not need, and all those other things. And then on top of that, so if we take a look at the next slide, what we see is this is what it actually looks like. This is what the actual whole thing looks like. These are all the people involved, from the recorders to the insurers to the notaries to the titles to the attorneys to the credit agencies to the lenders to the appraisers. These are all the people involved in like one transaction, right? Like this is crazy. Now, professionals, really great people, know how to bypass some of these steps, right? But essentially, there are three major parts to this whole process. There is the actual transaction between the realtor, the buyer, and the seller. There is the mortgage and title transactions, which is what TH back there, our banker, makes happen and can explain to you. And he's the guy looking really cool back there with the blue button down. Yeah. So he's from Citibank, and you got all these models, risk models, and all this stuff, and then and then you actually securitize the stuff, and then there you got capital markets, where people are actually. So then you got your everyone loves the if you love the conspiracy, not all that conspiracy, just the kind of all that stuff, the CDOs and all that stuff, and the mortgage-backed securities and things that are used in the early 2000s to crash the financial system, and still used today, but obviously in a much safer environment. And then from there, it might look like this, right? To a lot of us, right? Yeah. Anybody know what this says, by the way? Yeah. You get more Bitcoin stocks. All right. Joking. Only one per person. All right. So a lot of this is indiscernible to us. To some of us, this makes a lot of sense. But to most of us who are probably in this room, this means nothing. So we envision a world where you can actually walk down the street And you can look at a property that you think, wow, this is something cool, something I might be interested in purchasing or investing in. Get all the information I just talked about literally with one screen. And then make a decision and click a button and go through that entire process. Now, that might seem impossible. Some would argue it is impossible. But that's our vision of the future. You can just walk down the street, hold up a phone when you're looking at a house, and snap buy. This is what we envision. This is what we're developing and proving. All right. So when we look at properties these days, we see more something like Lego blocks, like little pieces that you can take out. And this is what we want to turn the real estate industry into. Where millions and millions of people can actually own a very small piece of that little fictionalized Lego house. Oh, we'll do Q&A very soon. We'll do Q&A. So now, I'm going to get into blockchain technology. So how to do that, you would need to eliminate a lot of intermediaries that are existing today. This is what needs to be done. So, how can you trust people if you're doing peer-to-peer transactions? People you may or may not know. That probably seems really scary. No bank sitting there to kind of deal with the money flows and the records and the registration and all that stuff. The insurance, how can you do that? The answer lies in a wonderful, beautiful concatenation of two words that I love. It just makes me feel good every time I hear it. That's blockchain. Blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. Sorry, intro. So we go on to the next slide. The easiest way to understand blockchain that we can think of is really complicated, but the easiest thing I can think of to say, and the thing is, I'll be honest, there's a lot of misrepresentation around what a blockchain is. Some people will come up and they'll tell you, it's a shared database. Kind of. A lot of people will come up to you and say, it's Bitcoin. Kind of. A lot of people will come to you and say, it's all about smart contracts. Kind of. I think any oversimplification of blockchain, maybe because we just have been doing this for so long and are so deep into it, but it's one of those things that it's really hard to explain, but the best way that I could think to simplify it, if I was to try to explain it to people who have no idea what it is, it's really like DNA, whereby it's a decentralized network of stuff that all has the same copy of the same stuff, and you can be ensured that the same copy is stored everywhere. And there can be mutations as well. That's the best way I can do it. So the real value, one of the other great parts about blockchain is that with any website, a traditional database or data store where you store records, like I own this, you own that, someone can hack into it and change the values, just like you change a Word document. Except for the fact that when that Word document is changed, you can't actually use that document to validate that you own the property anymore. And so if it can change like that without you sending over that information, that's not a very good thing. So until blockchain technology, even with the advent of the internet, it's been really kind of impractical to put value transfer on the internet. But with the advent of blockchain technologies and newer technologies that are built with blockchain like Ethereum and Hyperledger Fabric, these things are possible. The US military is using blockchain for its value, for developing blockchain technology, and has put out a bunch of RFPs from companies and actually awarded contracts to companies as it transitions to move its value transfer and communication protocol to the blockchain. I'd say, it's really hard to explain everything about blockchain, but if it's good enough for the DARPA, it's at least good enough for me. And Dubai plans to put the entire government, all the government records on the blockchain by the year 2020. We're actually flying out to Dubai this week, and we hope to be working with the government to actually bring that to fruition. And as you know, Dubai is one of the most futuristic cities in the world, and I think they're paving the way for what we're going to see across the world, not only from us, like just us, like startups, but also from government institutions. So that's a brief introduction to blockchain, as well as to our vision of the future. And I'm going to hand it over to Ty Kirsten, who is going to talk to us about our current platform, how it works, and the roadmap moving forward. Thank you.
Great job. Alright, my name is Ty Kirsten. I am a coder for Proof Incorporated. I also do some biz dev work and stand in front of people and talk. I play violin, and I have to announce that I haven't touched an Xbox controller for over a year. Not a problem. I have my token as well.
One day at a time, Ty.
Thanks, sir. I worked originally for Core Estate, where I worked with Mike on real estate issuance. We did another presentation here, I think about a year ago or so, and did some work with the real estate investment. It's awesome to be here again. I've also done some work doing, I helped open a restaurant in Seattle called Crisp Papery. It actually sold it a while back, serving crepes of all things. And then also I taught Python, so I know a fair amount about the tech, and I'm going to be talking about sort of our own platform here. And so you guys are. So if you head over to beta.proofdashboard.com right now, this is the first screen we've created with. And this right here exemplifies our ideas of what blockchain can be. It's simple. There's a login screen and a sign up, just like you would have on any other website. On Proof, we give you access to tokens and creating tokens as easy as just simply logging into a website. Who here has a Bitcoin wallet or an Ethereum wallet? Cool. It's kind of a pain. A lot of the UI isn't great. It's getting better with kind of Coinbase and a lot of the regular exchanges, but it's still sort of a pain in the butt to get things set up, right, Jacob?
Very much so.
Yeah. So we want to give people access to this technology to deploy assets and then fractionalize them as easy it is to use Facebook. So after you log in, you'll see this screen. Here, we've listed some of our first assets on the platform. By the way, this is entirely live right now. This isn't just proof of concept. There are currently people using this platform and trading tokens of these properties you see in front of you. First, we start with a beautiful four bedroom with garden in Bolton, England. We're outside, I think it's Greater Manchester. And as you see, it is quite beautiful. Looks like it's got that nice roof and everything else. Here we also have a crowdfunding opportunity located in Dubai. And then two properties that were placed with the help of our very own Jacob and Victoria here in Korea. One located in Hongdae, one located as a beachfront property in Dongyeon, I believe.
In Sokcho.
Sokcho. So, you can see the prices, and it's a very basic listing. What happens when I click this? Well, first, before we go into that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about sort of the theory that drives what we do. What Proof does at its heart is basically allows a property that's under development or has been developed to be broken into smaller pieces by either the developer or the Proof team, and then issued on the marketplace, which you saw earlier. So people, everyday people, can purchase it for small amounts of USD, Euro, Bitcoin, or Ethereum. They then receive their token, and then simply can trade it back and forth. During two events, they receive money back. Either during a liquidation, they receive a proportion, we'll talk about the percentages a little bit later, or during rent events, they receive a small dividend coming in from based on the proportion of the tokens held. Blockchain technology, paired with smart contracts, or in the case of Bitcoin, something like the open assets or counterparty programs, allow us to then track all these transactions and take care of all settlement on an immutable database, as Mike had outlined earlier. Another cool part of this is that if our site goes down, that transactional record exists no matter what. As long as the system stays up, all your transactions are safe. Our site can go down. The second we bring it back up, everything will be exactly the same. Somebody can destroy our site, delete all of our servers. As long as the blockchain, which is located across a bunch of different nodes, exists, your transactions still can exist. And it would require a very small amount of coding to actually create a bridge to get you back to your assets, to get you back to your transactions. So there's a permanence in all the transactions you make, which is pretty cool. Now, let's move on to the next slide, and I'm going to start talking to you about kind of breaking down how this actually works. I'm going to give you a quick overview first, and then we're going to go into a little more detail of actually what this looks like on the platform when you start using the platform, touching the website, and putting things into forms. So first, there's a legal agreement. I'm sure everybody here has interacted at some point with some sort of contract and legal agreements, and especially if you've done investing. We've created legal contract templates, boilerplate, that you can then use, that you can use from our site to actually create the infrastructure necessary to fractionalize out your tokens and then allow people to verifiably move these tokens back and forth together. Second, sometimes we place a lien on the property, allowing that transactional contract to have even more weight and more insurance for the people who are actually purchasing those tokens and moving them back and forth. Third, everything gets placed on the proof platform. Now, that's a very large sort of sentence. There's a lot that goes into that. I'll talk about exactly what that means here in a second. Fourth, all of this information here ends up getting placed into a smart contract, which is a really fancy word for a bunch of code. If anybody here is actually, who here is a developer? Who's written code? All right. So a smart contract is basically just a piece of logic that all the stuff Mike talked about before with transactions, everything we talked about before with moving money across the blockchain, the smart contract can act as a kind of brain, allowing these actions to occur entirely automated. So you don't have to call anybody, you don't have to talk to a bank. The chain will take care of the logic itself. So we build our smart contracts. They're derived entirely from our ability to take legal agreements, the contracts surrounding the lien, and the specifications placed into the platform itself to create a smart contract. So every one of your properties also has a smart contract as well as a legal agreement backing it on the platform. I'll show you in a second exactly how we put that into the database. Next, we have an approval process, largely led and orchestrated by our own very own Taehoon, who's a master of all things contractual. And he goes through an approval process, looking at both the investor and the property owner, or the property developer, looking at their books, determining whether or not this is something we actually want to do business with. Do they actually have the liquidity to pay out the users, to pay for the tokens? What is their history in the past with our process? And we have a really exciting announcement about our roadmap for after that. And then finally, this is placed on the marketplace, where users can actually purchase these tokens that have been generated from the smart contract in small parts, for very small amounts of money. So if you saw earlier on that marketplace, the tokens cost about $1 a piece. You can issue up to, I think, almost hundreds of thousands of tokens, or you can break it into larger pieces. You break it up based on what you think is the most responsible way for your own property. We'll take Q&A later. Then those tokens themselves can be traded on an open marketplace between users, and all of it is being tracked on a distributed database or a blockchain. Now, we're going to go all the way back to legal agreements, and we're going to talk about kind of what this process looks like and how the sausage is made. So, this right here is a piece of a contract. This is the one surrounding the UK property that was at the very farthest left side of the marketplace you saw earlier. You see Mr. Michael DeShazer 2, I think the sequel. Yes. The guy who was up earlier, Mr. DeShazer, is setting a deal between him and Toki Lautan Brown to actually purchase a portion of that property and then placing a lien on that property so it can be moved until this agreement has been settled. And then also a transfer of rights to distribute that proportion to other people. So this is the very first contract that would be signed by two parties, the developer or owner, and then our platform itself. Now, I'll go into more detail on that later, but for now, Proof buys a portion of a property and then issues the tokens in this case. And then, after that, there's a second contract that comes up, which is the tokenization. We've created the legal framework to allow people to actually tokenize the assets and then move it back and forth between each other while being contractually obligated to each other. Then, we take these contracts and we can break them up. So, Proof is actually not built on a single blockchain. One of our specialties is that we operate on the application layer of many different blockchains. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Hyperledger Fabric. We also are looking into doing work with Corda, Eris Chain, as well as Dragon Chain. But in order for files, we use a technology called storage, which allows us to take that contract, the file, the PDF signed file of that contract. And there's some protocols as well in there as far as creating a locked file and doing signage. Anybody who's used like Adobe products professionally can kind of know what that means. And then we break it up. and we just place those pieces on a bunch of different nodes all over the place, and ensuring that that contract is immutable. But to add an extra layer, we run all that data through a special function, a special math function called a hash algorithm. And it hashes the file and generates and wraps it up inside of this string of characters and numbers you see here. Now, one of the most, if anybody here, does everybody here know what a hash is? Anybody? Sort of? Kind of? Anybody who's used a lot of blockchain stuff? Sort of, okay. Anyway, so the file hash, if any piece of that file, a single bit on that file gets changed, this hash will return something incredibly different. All right, so this number will change irrevocably, ensuring that when you go back to match the file hash to the file, that you have the exact same data that was placed on the chain, ensuring that any contract for the lifetime of that token is entirely secure. Now, how do we tie that to the smart contract? When at the generation of any asset, we actually generate this. This right here is what a smart contract looks like. This is Solidity. This is the ERC20 standard from Ethereum, for anybody who's interested in that stuff. And we place it inside of the contract, all of the file hash. So the contract is tied directly to the legal document hash, as well as the data that gives it kind of the legal heft. And if you see here, all of the total supply, the symbol, the name, is also tied to what you name your asset. So whatever, if you name the asset like Jacob's House, it will be called Jacob's House and be tied into the contract that way. So the technology itself is now unionized entirely with the legal infrastructure, as well as the placement on the marketplace. You can also upload pictures, as you saw earlier. You can take the best pictures of your property, put it up there. You can also choose to just use a legal document instead of the smart contract. And then as we move forward, all of this is secured with private keys. Private keys are, every account has a private key, which allows you to unlock all your tokens and send them between each other. You can actually take tokens off our platform and send them to somebody else who might not even have a proof account. So if I wanted to send something to one of you as a gift for your birthday, like a piece of, I don't know, beachfront property in Sokcho, I could do that. Now, when you actually access a property, you're given this. Basic display and an interface for that smart contract. It gives you the name, who posted it, the price per token, the total number of tokens issued, the number owned by the owner, the current valuation, which I'm going to come back to that word. Valuation is kind of the key to this, but it's also a really weird, big word that's hard to get around. And amount of asset on proof. So, there's a total valuation, and proof as a platform will actually only take a portion of that and then fractionalize that portion. This will help you derive what you think your returns may or may not be. There's also an asset description. You can see this looks a bit sparse. We're going to be beefing this up later with more analytics information moving forward. But in the meantime, we have a description field that allows anybody to place any extra information they want to put on the field. After you look at this and decide you want a piece of this beautiful paragon of suburban living, you can buy more. Oh, not yet. Yeah. After you buy some, you can then take the token that's now assigned to your account and then sell it. And if you really want to brag to your friends about, the tokens you just purchased and then confuse them a bunch, you can put them on Facebook or put it on LinkedIn. And it'll scrape all this data off the site and create a custom post for you to share everything you did with your friends and family and everybody else in the world. So, let's say I want to buy some. Let's take a look at the marketplace. Now, whenever you click buy, you'll see here that this is, by the way, this is live. We don't know any of these people. Well, we know them, but these two people we do not know. You will be given the price that everybody has placed their own tokens. So they've purchased tokens from UK property, and then they turned around and they decided to sell it on the marketplace for their own price. This person named Shiva the Game has posted a price of $1.03 USD. They've actually just recently made the sale, so it appears on the marketplace with a little bit of lag time, so you see what was there. And then they sold it. So they put this in the marketplace, and then somebody purchased it. Nawa posted theirs for $2 USD, which is twice the price of this token here, so we'll discuss that in a second. and for 2 available units, which means either A, they only put 2 tokens up there, which is unlikely, or they posted this and somebody bought a portion of those tokens, and there's only 2 left in their offering. Now, that's kind of strange, right? Having just $2 USD there. What this allows users to do is interact with the free open marketplace. They can set the price for whatever they want. The question we have at Proof, and we continue to debate, and I would love to get some of your feedback about this, is how does this affect that big V word, valuation? What does valuation mean? So, we have discussions about this all the time, but we have our own kind of theory surrounding this, and this is kind of the theory of the entire marketplace, which is what affects the valuation of the property. Does the token market affect the valuation of the property? We don't know. We maybe don't have the volume right now, but will in the future? Probably. Next, as we talk about valuation, how does valuation get created? We've decided, in our own internal talking, that it's about perception. It's about supply and demand, or how people perceive what the value of what they would pay for the property or the surrounding area is. So to kind of illustrate sort of the subjective nature of valuation, I want to tell a little story about a little piece of property. A little beachfront piece right here. It's called, I believe, Mar-a-Lago, located in Florida. Constructed in, I think it's 1924 by Meriwether Post. It was created as supposedly the second White House, or the summer White House, meant for dignitaries and presidential candidates to come and hang out and schmooze and do that kind of thing. So after the passing of Majorie, her daughters owned the property and were trying to sell it. They originally posted the price of this property for, I believe, $20 million. And then a young man came along by the name of Donald Trump, I think is his name, came along and then attempted to purchase the property. Thought $20 million was unfair. So he did what any good business person does and threatened them. He threatened to build properties in front of it or around it that would reduce the value of the property. The Posts responded by using the apparatus of the surrounding government to try to counter that. They also created new appraisals to drive the price up, while Mr. Trump began to try to drive the price down, creating a price war. Eventually, he would purchase the property for $7 million, which is significantly lower than $20 million, at least that's what the math teachers said. The valuation of this property was up in the air. Now, Mr. Trump has gone on to some office. I think he's a senator? Senator. So Senator Trump has gone on to host foreign dignitaries, celebrities, and various other famous people here. Supposedly, according to Forbes, his presence as president, as well as the people and the charge that he's charging people to stay here, has driven the price up $25 million. How did they come to that number? We're not entirely sure. I'm not sure they're entirely sure. Is it based on return on investment later on? Is it based on the surrounding area? Has Palm Beach itself gotten more big? Has it gotten better? Has the ocean not increased? Is global warming not making it smaller? Who knows? So, but ultimately it's about this. It's about perception. The price, people perceive that the price of this property has gone up because people believe that's more valuable. So, based on this theory, Proof Marketplace, as volume continues to grow, as our marketplace begins to hit maturation, the Proof tokens will begin to influence the valuation of the property itself. Likewise, we believe that the tokenized assets based on real estate are not just some sort of fractionalized thing just to trade around, but an entirely new asset class unto itself that has been unlocked entirely by blockchain technology. So, now, moving forward, I want to just put one thing out there real quick, is that this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It could be a get-rich plan, but not necessarily a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not necessarily a place for high-frequency traders to come in and run an algorithm to move tokens really fast back and forth between each other, trying to harness some sort of inefficiency in the marketplace. Nor is it necessarily a place for somebody to come in and get really quick cash with a cheap property against valuation, make a bunch of money really, really fast as a developer. This is a place for people to place good properties or great properties that they love, that they know other people will love, on the platform, tokenize it, and give access to that property to people who would otherwise have no hope of becoming real estate investors due to the challenges we talked about before. This platform, we hope, is going to become a very mature marketplace. And moving forward, we will have, by the end of this year, 5 properties in 8 different international cities, including Los Angeles, United Kingdom, Mombasa, Singapore, with some people in Shanghai as well to start moving some property in China. And if you have any sort of compliance or legal questions, we have a legal team that we can refer to you. And likewise, as we move forward into next year, we will have 500 properties on the platform. And then, in a gigantic leap, in 2019, we will have 10,000 properties. As we roll out both our reputation system, allowing not only developers and high net worth individuals to place properties on the chain, but allowing any user to place their apartment or their small business onto the Proof platform. We're building the models right now to create a robust reputation system similar to that you would find on Alibaba or Amazon.com, allowing for everyone to look at the property, the issuer, and even other investors to know with a pretty high level of certainty that they have a good thing on their hands to purchase. So, in 2020, we believe the sky is the limit, and that's a promise. All right. So, thank you very much. If you want to get involved, and you know anybody, or you have a property like this, or like this, or like this, with an awesome view, come talk to us. And if you're interested in becoming an investor on the platform, please visit proofsuite.com to read about all of our offerings and get a summary of everything we've done. Thank you very much.
I didn't get any cards.
Oh, you're buying at a discount from the owner.
Yeah, at the
Kind of a
moment,
really
we plan
simple
for the owner
question.
to do it
Found
directly.
a village idiot in the room.
But right now,
No,
we're
but
working
I
on
do
all
want
of
to
it for
clarify a couple of
as we
things.
work with larger
For me, at
partners, like bigger developers, we plan for we can't take on that risk.
There's a village idiot, and I concede that. No idea what was going on, so I was like, I understand the blockchain, what you're talking about. So is Proof creating their own cryptocurrency, or
So we're on top of Ethereum. And so we create smart contracts for each asset. So we have a lower
Going to catch up somehow.
I'm not expecting the government, when government release the first
It'll happen this July. Fantastic, good.
Today's event was amazing. Blockchain is the future, and it was really nice to see how the team has a vision for having property transfers on the blockchain. And I'll be curious to see how this goes forward in terms of increase in investors and the way the business expands over the next few months and so. I was so excited coming today, and after the presentation, I'm even more excited to see what this company has, and thinking about me who, you know, I don't have a lot of money, I don't own any property now, and just to even say that I have a little part of this big mansion or beachfront property, I think is a little bit closer to a dream that I have of eventually one day owning a full-blown property.